Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a city the entire world once looked up to, Alexandria. The Mediterranean breeze carries the scent of salt, ancient scrolls, and whispers from the past. This city was once the center of knowledge for the entire planet, a place where every ancient civilization came, not to conquer, but to learn. And at its heart, beating like the pulse of all humanity, stood the Library of Alexandria. People often think of libraries as places to borrow books, but the Library of Alexandria wasn't just a vault of knowledge, it was a birthplace of it. They say every ship that docked at Alexandria's harbor was held, not for customs inspections, but to copy everything on board. Maps, records, calligraphy, manuscripts, all temporarily seized. One copy returned to the owner, the other preserved here. Everything humanity knew, astronomy, anatomy, history, philosophy, language, mythology, once lived in the tens of thousands of papyrus scrolls within these walls. And then, it vanished. No one saw the flames with their own eyes. No official records described the exact moment it fell. Only scattered tales blurred by centuries of fog and forgetting. Some blame Julius Caesar, that in 48 BCE, while battling Egyptian forces, he accidentally set fire to nearby storage depots, and the blaze spread to the library. But if that were true, why is there no ash? Why has no one found even a single burnt scrap? And why did those who once worked there simply vanish? A quiet theory has survived through the centuries. The library wasn't burned, it was relocated. Whispers speak of a group called the Keepers of the Light, descendants of great scholars who foresaw the coming destruction. They secretly gathered the most precious scrolls, sealed them in cedarwood boxes, wrapped in linen, and disappeared before Rome arrived. They carried not just knowledge, but secrets about humanity no one has yet understood. Centuries later, in Tibet, a manuscript was found with passages nearly identical to those believed to come from the library. In Ethiopia, a piece of treated leather described human anatomy, with detail far beyond the medicine of that era, written in ancient Greek script. No one knows where the true proof lies. But one thing is certain, the Library of Alexandria wasn't destroyed by fire, it was hidden by human hands. And if those hands were able to erase an entire library from history, what else might they have hidden? Part 2. The Escape in the Dark. No one heard their footsteps, but they walked before they could be seen. That night, the sky above Alexandria was moonless. Only flames lit the distance. Fires from the burning harbor, smoke cloaking the city. People flooded the streets in fear. But amidst the chaos, a group of figures quietly vanished. They weren't soldiers, they weren't nobles. They were scribes, stewards, scholars, those who had lived hidden among priceless scrolls. And they didn't leave empty-handed. They were led by a figure known only by a title whispered through time, the Nightkeeper of Knowledge. They left with 73 cedarwood chests filled with papyrus scrolls, treated leather manuscripts, anatomical drawings, star maps, and writings never shared with the world. They had prepared not for days, but for decades. A record discovered centuries later in a monastery in Greece contained a note from a scholar named Philemon. We hear the stirrings from the north. We see the light of Rome reflected on the Mediterranean. And we understand, knowledge must be hidden, not wielded in the games of power. The escape happened in 3 waves. Night 1. A small group fled through underground tunnels beneath the library, leading to the western shore. Night 3, sailboats departed the docks while Roman soldiers confiscated food supplies. Week 2, the remaining cargo traveled east by camel caravans disguised as merchant trade routes toward Babylon. Scattered records tell us some went west to Carthage and vanished in the Atlas Mountains. Others journeyed east across the deserts, pausing in what is now Syria, then disappearing into Persia. But the smallest group, only 4 people, is believed to have reached India. They carried a golden chest inscribed with Greek characters. What it held, no one knows. Only that, 400 years later, a Mughal prince spoke of pages that could grant immortality to men. From Egyptian records, a strange case appears. A foreign man, curly-haired, pale-skinned, speaking no Arabic, was arrested in the southern desert drawing star charts in blood on stone. He didn't die of thirst, he smiled when captured. He said only one thing, translated later as, "You cannot burn light with darkness." In that same region, Bedouins tell of a forbidden cave deep in the Red Mountains. Symbols carved inside, half ancient Egyptian, half classical Greek. Those who attempted to enter returned with pure white hair. The escape from Alexandria wasn't about saving lives. It was about ensuring something more precious than life survived. Because if those scrolls had fallen into the hands of empire, this world would no longer be the world we know. Part 3. The Nightkeeper, Guardian of Knowledge. No one knows his real name. No portraits exist of his face. But if there was one final soul who left Alexandria with humanity's greatest secrets, it was him. The Nightkeeper, the Guardian of the Night, is not recorded in any official historical documents. His name doesn't appear on the library's roster, nor in any Roman or Egyptian chronicle. Yet his title echoes across legends, from Greece to Persia, from Ethiopia to India. According to an ancient manuscript discovered in the Sinai monastery, there was a man who walked into fire and was not burned. One who memorized 10,000 scrolls without ever writing a single line. It is believed the Nightkeeper did not write by hand, but remembered by mind. With an eidetic memory, he absorbed the most sacred knowledge in the library, then destroyed the originals so no one else could possess them. One tale recounts, when a young scholar asked to copy the neural vein map, the Nightkeeper looked at him and said quietly, "Not all knowledge is meant to be copied. Some knowledge must exist in only one." Centuries later, in Kyoto, Japan, a stone relief was found, depicting a hooded man standing before an erupting volcano, holding a burning scroll in the air. Beneath it read, "He imprisoned knowledge within himself to save the world from it." The greatest question remains, if the Nightkeeper truly existed, what was he hiding? A map to rebuild the library? Or forbidden truths like cures for all diseases? Or the structure of the soul? A 12th century Iranian scholar wrote, "In the Lost Scrolls it is said that one truth could make the world appear as illusion, and anyone who reads it would refuse to be human again." Perhaps that's why the Nightkeeper didn't die like other men. There was no grave, no body, no tomb. Only traces remain. A star map in Greece pointing to the meeting point of 4 deserts. A curse carved into stone in Armenia, "He who reads the buried scroll shall never be himself again." And in a mountain cave in Tibet, the inscription, "When the light is forgotten, seek the one who never slept." It is believed the Nightkeeper was not just a guardian of knowledge, but a keeper of the gate to another world. A world that, if touched too soon by mankind, could bring the downfall of all civilizations. And perhaps that world still exists, hidden behind a thin veil, waiting for someone wise enough or mad enough to step through. Part 4. Strange Signals, Clues from Across the World. Secrets don't vanish, they leave behind fragments in places no one expects. A modern scholar once said, "True knowledge doesn't die, it merely changes form." And that new form? It's scattered all across the planet. Clue 1. The Sahara Desert, 1923. A group of French archaeologists accidentally uncovered a stone structure buried beneath the sand, absent from any ancient map. Inside was a hexagonal chamber with inscriptions overlapping in both Greek and Egyptian. At the center stood a hollow stone pedestal, seemingly designed to hold a cylindrical object, or a scroll. Below it, faintly carved, read, "This is not the beginning, but the last place where the light still lingered." Clue 2. The Himalayas, 1965. In a remote Tibetan village, a boy named Dorje was said to read a language no one had taught him. When shown a replica of ancient Alexandrian script, the boy translated it effortlessly. Dorje said, "I didn't learn. I just hear a voice in my head when I look at the words. Chinese authorities took the boy. He vanished from all official records thereafter. Clue 3. The floor of the Mediterranean Sea. 1. An unmanned exploration drone captured images of a dome-like stone structure covered in moss and sea life, less than 3 nautical miles from ancient Alexandria. On the arched wall, a strange symbol was visible. 3 interlocked circles, with an eye at the center. Beneath it, in ancient Latin, the words, "What once was seen shall not be forgotten." Historians suggest this may have been the site of a second library, where the Nightkeeper hid the remaining scrolls, not to be discovered by mankind, but to test who was brave enough and wise enough to reach it. And then came a signal. In 2012, a team of astronomers in Chile detected a peculiar radio wave sequence, repeating every 10 hours, that matched no natural phenomenon. When decoded using frequency shift transcription, the signal resembled ancient Alexandrian script. A rough translation yielded, "The gate opens when the seeker is patient enough to no longer need the answer."
Birds.
Ancient religions, esoteric sects, even modern neuroscientists have since stumbled upon strange fragments. A poem carved on the forehead of a Shiva statue in India. "Only those who carry light within shall read the darkness outside." A coded copper message found in France's Fontainebleau forest. "If you seek Alexandria in the light, you will be lost. Seek it in sleep." From here, a terrifying hypothesis emerged. The library wasn't hidden in this world, but in another layer of consciousness. Perhaps the Nightkeeper used ancient techniques combining meditation, frequency, and symbols to seal all of humanity's knowledge into the collective dream. And if that's true, then every time we fall asleep, we might just wander into the place he once guarded. Part 5. The Final Dream. When the guardian no longer wakes, some things are never lost. They simply wait for the right one to awaken. In the mythologies of many cultures, a recurring image appears, a treasure hidden within a dream, one that cannot be unlocked by a key, but only by a mind deep enough to reach it. In India, they speak of a library of the soul, where knowledge is written in light and only reveals itself when the soul becomes truly still. In Persia, there is the legend of the Golden Dream, a place where only those willing to abandon the real world may read a single line of the ancient book. In Tibet, monks believe that in deep meditation they've entered a nameless place, filled with languages they'd never learned, yet somehow understood them all. A 14th century record from a monastery in Greece tells of a meditator who met the Nightkeeper in a dream. He did not speak. He opened a book, and each page was a lifetime, each line a truth I had once forgotten. Modern neuroscientists have also documented strange phenomena. Certain patients, after falling into deep comas, awakened speaking ancient languages, Egyptian, Greek, even Sumerian, that they had never encountered in their lives. One Frenchman in 2009 awoke from a stroke and began writing 27 unknown characters in a trance. When analyzed, the symbols matched 89% of ancient Alexandrian script samples. Perhaps the library still exists, not in a city, not within pyramids, but in the collective mind of humankind. Researchers now refer to it as the mind field, a vast network of memory and intuition where every idea, every forgotten truth, every abandoned piece of knowledge still lingers, waiting for someone pure and awake enough to connect. In a simulated dialogue attributed to the Nightkeeper, one line is recorded: "When you stop seeking with your eyes, knowledge will appear through your soul." And so, Alexandria never truly burned. It merely retreated from a world too noisy to hear silence. And if one wishes to return, they must let go of everything, even themselves. In the end, the question is no longer, where is the library? But rather, will you dare to listen to what it's whispering in your dreams tonight?